more about what happened in the moments after a Metro Public Works crew picked up a homeless woman while trying to clean trash out of a vacant lot.
The Commonwealth's Attorney's Office declined to press any criminal charges in the death of Tyra Adams. Adams was sleeping in an alley near West Muhammad Ali and Eddy Street on February 12th when she was picked up by the knuckle boom and claw on a city garbage truck. Once the crew saw movement, they immediately released the claw, dropping Adams and other items onto the ground. A civil lawsuit says the men got back into the truck and waited for their supervisor to arrive. It says they can be heard laughing while watching Adams stumble into a nearby store for help where she collapsed. Her family says it took EMS 18 minutes to arrive. Adams died at the hospital later that morning from blunt force trauma. In a recent interview, her sister called the crew's behavior insincere and inhumane.
That they were laughing. They were mocking the situation at hand. There was a video of him smiling, the passenger. That was very hurtful. I don't know anybody who would be smiling or laughing after an incident like that.
The lawsuit also says the supervisor sent the employees back to work and never reported the incident to LMPD. Adams's family is suing for wrongful death and negligence and has amended the complaint to name the specific employees involved, their supervisor, and their manager.